Most men spend their lives in quiet confusion, chasing love, validation, and happiness through women, only to end up heartbroken, used, or trapped in cycles they can't explain. They give everything and receive nothing. They believe loyalty means security. But all they earn is silence, withdrawal, and abandonment. What they don't know is that the game was rigged long before they entered it. But nearly 200 years ago, a philosopher dared to say what no man today has the courage to admit. His name was Arthur Schopenhauer, and he exposed the brutal truth about female nature. Truths so raw, so piercing, most men still can't accept them. But if you can hear this all the way through, you'll finally understand where you've been deceived, why love has failed you, and how to take back control of your life. So listen closely. Because what's coming isn't just controversial. It's the missing key most men will never grasp. Schopenhauer didn't believe in fairy tales. He saw love for what it really is. Not a spiritual bond, not divine destiny, but a biological illusion. A weapon created by nature for one purpose: reproduction. That obsession you feel, that electric attraction, that belief she's the one, it's not your soul reaching for hers. It's your brain doing math in the background, subconsciously measuring fertility, genetic compatibility, survival value. She doesn't feel it the way you do, but she's scanning too. Her instincts are searching for something different: status, protection, dominance. Love, Schopenhauer wrote, is the ultimate goal of almost all human effort. But he didn't say that with wonder. He said it with warning. Because that love isn't real. It's a chemical high designed to vanish the moment its purpose is fulfilled. Think about it. How many men have burned their lives down for a woman who later walked away without looking back? How many marriages crumble the second passion fades? That's not an accident. It's nature's design. Women don't choose based on fairness. They don't love you for your sacrifices. They don't reward you for effort. They follow ancient programming, hardwired to seek protection, status, strength. You can be the most loyal man on earth, but if you can't provide what her biology craves, you mean nothing. Schopenhauer saw this with piercing clarity. Women aren't driven by logic. They don't weigh loyalty the way men do. They are ruled by something deeper, older, more instinctive. They are ruled by emotion. This isn't misogyny. It's not hate. It's not bitterness. It's observation. Look around. The proof is everywhere, hidden in plain sight. Look at dating apps, where 80% of women chase the top 20% of men, swiping endlessly past average guys who offer loyalty, honesty, stability. Why? Because none of that matters, unless it comes with power. Look at divorce courts, where years of commitment are rewarded with betrayal, financial ruin, and public shame. Look at history, where kings slaughtered armies, conquered nations, and still died for women who betrayed them. The pattern doesn't change, because the biology never changed. Most men believe love is fair, that if they sacrifice enough, care enough, remain faithful enough, they'll eventually be rewarded. But Schopenhauer shattered that fantasy. To be loved, one must not be just, but clever. He saw the truth most men don't want to admit. Women don't fall for good. They fall for strength. Not just physical strength, but social power, financial dominance, emotional self-mastery. This is why the good guy finishes last. Not because he's weak in virtue, but because he misunderstands the game. He thinks love is earned through effort, through servitude, through becoming her emotional crutch. But women, by nature, are not attracted to the servant. They are drawn to the sovereign, to the man who does not need her validation, to the man who doesn't chase, but commands presence. Have you ever noticed what happens when she gets the man she wanted? When the chase ends? When he gives everything and expects peace? She pulls away. She gets colder, detached, irritated, bored. The devotion that once excited her now repels her. Schopenhauer called it the tragedy of possession, because once the object of desire is possessed, the fire dies. Not because she's cruel, but because biology moves on. The purpose was fulfilled. The thrill was in the conquest, not the comfort. And this is why the man who gives too much, too soon, the man who places her at the center of his world, inevitably watches her walk away. But here's the twist most men miss. This isn't women's fault. It's not deception. It's not malice. It's biology. And the man who truly understands this stops blaming. He stops complaining. He stops crying out, "Why didn't she love me back?" He realizes it was never personal. It was instinct. Schopenhauer's warning wasn't to hate women. It was to see them clearly, to finally remove the romantic fog and witness the code running beneath the surface. Love isn't a fairy tale. It's a negotiation. And in that negotiation, the man who enters from weakness will lose every single time. This is just the beginning. Because the next truth? It's even darker. It explains why modern men are being outplayed, not just in dating, but in life. It explains why most men feel invisible, unwanted, discarded, and why nothing they've been taught about love, respect, or masculinity actually works. See, modern society screams equality. It tells men and women they're the same needs, same values, same rules. But biology never agreed to that contract. It still operates on ancient laws, ruthless, primal laws. Laws that punish the man who tries to live like a nice guy in a jungle of dominance. While society preaches fairness, Schopenhauer warned, biology plays a different game. And the man who ignores that truth? He's already lost. Women hold the ultimate leverage in relationships, not because they're manipulative, not because they're cruel, but because nature designed them to be selectors, gatekeepers of reproduction. From the moment puberty hits, a woman's value in the sexual marketplace is granted. Youth, beauty, fertility. A man's value, it must be forged through pain, struggle, dominance, and survival. While she peaks early, he climbs, slowly, painfully, toward a summit that might never come. And yet, even as he builds, even as he suffers, society tells him to be soft, vulnerable, open, supportive. Meanwhile, women are still chasing the same things they always have: power, dominance, and certainty. They want strength, but shame it. They want leadership, but resent control. They want masculinity, but only when it benefits them. The modern man is drowning in contradiction. He's told to be emotionally available, while women swipe for alphas who ignore them. He's told to be gentle, but watches the roughest men win every time. He's told masculinity is toxic, while secretly punished for not embodying it. And the reward for following the script? Divorce court, paternity tests, emotional chaos. Schopenhauer saw this coming centuries ago. He wasn't being cruel when he said it. He was describing a psychological structure that most men never decode. Women, he wrote, are suited to being the nurses and teachers of our childhood by the very fact that they themselves are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. Not childish as an insult, but biologically focused on the immediate, present moment survival, emotional instinct, short-term advantage. In other words, they are not planners of long-term loyalty. They are adapters of short-term value, and nature built them that way, because it works. But here's where it gets dangerous. Modern women haven't just embraced their evolutionary power, they've weaponized it. The game used to be biological. Now it's digital. Now attention is currency, and the average man is bankrupt. Social media has transformed validation into an economy. And men? They're the unpaid laborers, working overtime for likes, comments, and DMs that mean nothing. They simp. They orbit. They double-tap her selfie while she never even remembers his name. He calls it being supportive. But what he's really doing is volunteering for emotional slavery. Why? Because he's been sold a lie. That devotion is the highest form of love. That if you just show her how loyal you are, how respectful, how consistent, she will choose you. But Schopenhauer saw the trap long before Instagram and dating apps. He saw a truth most men still can't face. Women are not trained for genuine love. They are trained for conditional attachment, and that condition is always utility. If you're useful, emotionally, financially, socially, you're loved. If not, you're replaceable. And that love you thought was deep, that was transactional. A woman may say she loves you for who you are, but test it. Stop providing. Lose your status. Show weakness. Watch what happens. It's not that she's evil. It's not that she lied. It's that she's hardwired to seek the best possible mate. And when a man stagnates, when he stops climbing, stops growing, stops projecting strength, she will resent him. When he falls behind, she will replace him. And society? It will cheer her on. Because in the modern world, a man's loyalty is expected. A woman's loyalty is optional. This isn't bitterness. This isn't red pill rage. This is survival. Schopenhauer divided men into two categories: those who serve and those who are served. The beta male exhausts himself, hoping to earn value. He becomes the emotional crutch, the yes man, the provider who always gives more than he receives. He begs for attention. He hopes for reciprocity. He waits for loyalty that never comes. Then there's the other kind, the man who doesn't beg, the man who doesn't chase, the man who isn't trying to prove himself, because his worth is self-evident. His silence speaks louder than the beta's pleading. His presence is felt before he opens his mouth. One man asks for love, the other commands obsession, and you see it everywhere. The office worker who destroys his health chasing a promotion, hoping it will make his wife respect him again. The gym rat who builds a perfect physique, only to realize women now want him, but only for sex, never for commitment. The simp who spends his paycheck on a girl who ghosts him the second a higher status man appears. These men, they're not victims. They're volunteers. They walk into the fire willingly, convinced that if they burn brightly enough, she'll finally see their light. But Schopenhauer didn't just diagnose the illness, he handed us the cure. The first rule of survival. See the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. If you believe that love is unconditional, that loyalty is automatic, that kindness guarantees affection, you are asleep. The man who thrives in this world isn't the one who clings to outdated fantasies. It's the one who sees the system for what it is, a game. And the final truth? The game is rigged, but only if you play by the wrong rules. This is where most men give up, because the next truth is the hardest to swallow. It's not about women, it's about you. And once you face it, once you truly face it, everything changes. Schopenhauer uncovered a disturbing reality that modern psychology is only now beginning to confirm. Women don't compete like men. They don't challenge you directly. They don't flex their power where you can see it. Their warfare is subtle, invisible, and devastatingly effective. While men fight with fists, facts, or status, women fight with influence. They don't conquer head-on. They reshape perception. They manipulate the battlefield so you don't even realize you've lost, until you're left wondering how you got here. When a man wants something, he demands it. He sets a goal. He works. He moves forward. When a woman wants something, she makes you believe it was your idea, and by the time you realize what's happened, you've already adjusted your behavior. You've already abandoned your mission. You've already become less than you were. Schopenhauer saw it long before Instagram and TikTok. He saw that a woman's strength isn't in her body, it's in her intuition, her ability to read emotion, to feel weakness before you even speak it, to detect hesitation in your tone or insecurity in your eyes. She lives in the present, not because she chooses to, but because she is wired to. And in that present moment focus, she holds a terrifying advantage. Where men see a conversation, women see a calculated interrogation. From the first date to the final fight, she is testing you, reading you, shaping you. Modern men believe they're in control of their relationships. They think that because they provide, protect, and commit, they hold the power. They're wrong. From the first text to the final goodbye, women guide the interaction. Not overtly, not through force, but through something far more dangerous. Subtle, psychological testing. Most men fail without ever realizing they were being tested. There's the compliance test. How fast do you change your plans for her? Cancel your workout? Rearrange your priorities? She frames it as affection, but it's really a scan for dominance. Then comes the frame test. Do you stand your ground? Or do you fold the moment she cries, gets cold, or threatens to walk? Do you lead, or do you submit under emotional pressure? Then there's the investment test. Are you chasing harder than she is? Are you overcommitting while she remains aloof? Schopenhauer saw it centuries ago. He warned, women are instinctively crafty and possess an innate talent for deception. This isn't slander, it's biology. Because in a world where women couldn't rely on strength, they evolved a superior weapon: emotional intelligence. The woman who couldn't read a man's mind? She didn't survive. She didn't pass on her genes. The ones who thrived were those who could manipulate without appearing to. Those who could cry at the right moment, withhold affection, or spark jealousy to provoke a reaction. They learned how to control the strong, not through force, but through perception. And that instinct still lives in them today. This isn't evil, it's evolutionary programming, a survival system millions of years in the making. And unless you see it, you will always be its victim. Here's where modern men walk blindly into the trap. They confuse a woman's attention for genuine interest. They think the like, the emoji, the playful reply means something. They think consistency earns commitment, that emotional availability earns respect. But Schopenhauer revealed the dark truth. Women are most drawn to the men who don't need them. The more you orbit her, the more she devalues you. The moment she becomes your purpose, she loses respect for you. This is why the nice guy finishes last, not because he's not lovable, but because he makes her the center of his world, and in doing so, collapses his own frame. This is why marriages crumble right after the man sacrifices his ambition to focus on the relationship. It's why women chase emotionally unavailable men, why they pull away the moment you become fully hers. It's not that they want to be mistreated, it's that their biology is designed to test value, and nothing kills perceived value faster than neediness. Every interaction with a woman contains an unspoken power struggle. Most men lose it before they even realize it began. She cries to avoid accountability. She withholds affection to punish defiance. She flirts with others to test your confidence. Schopenhauer called it the tyranny of the weak, because weakness, when weaponized, becomes a form of control. Women may appear delicate, but through emotion, tears, vulnerability, and silence, they control stronger men who have no idea they're being played. The man who falls for it, he becomes a slave. But the man who recognizes it, who holds his frame, stays centered, and doesn't flinch under pressure, he becomes unstoppable. But there's hope, and it begins with this: Schopenhauer's most liberating truth. The first step to freedom is seeing the chains. When you realize that female nature isn't personal, that it's biological, that it's predictable, that it's been the same for thousands of years, you stop begging for love. You stop whining about loyalty. You stop trying to earn what can never be earned. And in that moment, you reclaim your power. You don't demand respect. You inspire it. You don't chase affection. You attract it through strength, purpose, and detachment. And here's the ultimate twist. The most dangerous lies aren't the ones women tell men. They're the lies men tell themselves. The lie that being nice will make her stay. The lie that vulnerability guarantees intimacy. The lie that sacrifice will make her love you. Schopenhauer's most devastating insight wasn't about women. It was about the unforgiving nature of reality itself. Once he exposed the truths of attraction and power, he didn't tell men to fight women. He told them to transcend the game entirely. The fatal mistake modern men make? Believing that happiness comes from female validation, that peace is found in her affection, that meaning is built in her eyes. It's not. The happiness we receive from ourselves, Schopenhauer wrote, is greater than that which we obtain from our surroundings. The man who thrives isn't the one who conquers women. It's the one who conquers himself. He builds a purpose so powerful, a life so aligned, that female attention becomes a bonus, not a necessity. History's greatest men, they weren't chasing love, they were building legacies. Artists, inventors, warriors, philosophers. They weren't orbiting women, they were building empires. This is where the script flips. Here are the 3 pillars of unshakable masculinity. The foundations of a man who can never be broken. 1. Economic sovereignty. Schopenhauer warned, money is human happiness in the abstract, not for what it buys, but for the freedom it secures. A man who controls his income, controls his decisions, his time, his path. No woman can manipulate a man who doesn't need her for survival. 2. Philosophical depth. Most men live like machines, reacting, obeying, conforming. But the exceptional man, he thinks, he questions, he reads, he sharpens his mind like a weapon, cutting through the lies of society, media, and manipulation. A man without philosophy is a ship with no compass. 3. Physical mastery. Your body is not just flesh, it is the vessel of your will. Weakness here breeds weakness everywhere. You don't train to impress others. You train to command yourself, to remind your instincts who's in charge. Because discipline in the body becomes confidence in the soul. Now here's where Schopenhauer becomes prophetic. The safest way of not being very miserable is not to expect to be very happy. At first, it sounds like pessimism. But it's not. It's emotional armor. When you stop begging for love, when you no longer expect fairness, when you detach from outcomes, you become unshakable. And in that detachment, you stop being the chaser and become the prize. Because the battle between men and women was never personal. It's biological theater, playing out across millennia. And the man who finally understands that doesn't hate female nature. He adapts to it. He builds a life so powerful, so magnetic, that women must rise to his standards or get left behind. We forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. That was Schopenhauer's final warning. The choice is yours. You can keep chasing illusions, playing by rules you didn't write, losing a game you were never taught. Or you can step into your power, not by dominating others, but by mastering yourself. Because the red pill isn't about hating women. It's about loving truth enough to rebuild yourself in its image. And that's where your real life begins.